Oh yeah, while we're here, let's do this. Why Bollywood is bad at VFX, Mavata Narasimha. I saw this on my home feed. I was like, I wanted to watch it, but then I was like, I could watch it on stream also. I'll try to make it as transformative as possible. And if I don't feel like it is transformative, I won't post it on the channel, obviously. This is a sad affair because we have a lot of talented VFX studios in India, a lot of talented VFX artists. But why? There are a bunch of reasons as to why Bollywood VFX is bad or like Indian VFX is bad, like in Indian movies. Which let's see. Hopefully they'll cover. The channel is Abhi now. If I post this, I'll link the actual video in the description. So make sure you go and support the original creator. Now let me get started with this.
बॉलीवुड ब्लॉकबस्टर मूवी को देखते वक्त
Up the volume a little bit so you can hear them.
सोचा है यार कुछ तो ऑफ लग रहा है यार वीएफएक्स में तो
Yes.
आप अकेले नहीं हो इतने बड़े बजट और अमेजिंग कहानियों के बावजूद बॉलीवुड वीएफएक्स के लिए अक्सर ट्रोल होता है
Yes.
बनते हैं और लोग कहते हैं यार ये क्या बना दिया
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit.
That's not a VFX issue. That I mean, this is something else because the VFX looks fine in that scene. It's a choreography, I guess you could say, is over the top, but VFX is fine.
No! Holy shit! What the fuck? Oh my god!
Yeah.
What the fuck?
रामायण का पूरा उल्टा दिखाया रामायण में राक्षस ऐसे उड़ रहे हैं वीएफएक्स तो इतना गंदा
Yeah, I mean, Adipurush.
लेकिन ऐसा क्यों क्या टैलेंट की कमी है या टाइम नहीं मिलता या फिर कोई और रीजन है हम देख नहीं पा रहे
It's mostly money.
प्रॉब्लम सिर्फ विजुअल की नहीं है प्रॉब्लम होती है व्यूअर से कनेक्शन का जब मूवी सिर्फ दिखावा
वहाँ से के डायलॉग चाहे एक क्रिंज से एटलीस्ट VFX तो अच्छा था. आदिपुरुष के तो दोनों ही क्रिंज हैं. Yeah.
करती है लेकिन फील नहीं देती तभी ऑडियंस डिस्कनेक्ट हो जाती
It had like what 300-400 crore budget, right?
रामायण देखना उसका फील ही नहीं है
है लेकिन एक नई एनिमेटेड मूवी महा अवतार नरसिम्हा ने सबको सरप्राइज कर दिया
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. I haven't watched it yet. I was going to watch it. I bought the ticket also, but then something came up, and so I had to go. So I technically did support the movie, but I didn't watch it.
ये मूवी सिर्फ एनिमेशन नहीं इमोशन भी देती है इसमें कैरेक्टर डिजाइन डेडिकेशन और जो फीलिंग आती है
I'm sorry, the AI avatar is putting me off. I don't know if that's a controversial topic, but just I've started to see a lot of YouTube channels, especially Indian YouTube channels that use AI models to make their videos, do the narration and stuff. I'm like, either do it yourself, or just don't do it. Create a faceless channel. I don't know how I feel about an AI model. Personally, I'm not saying it's like a bad thing. Personally.
वो सच में 700 करोड़ की आदिपुरुष को भी डिफीट कर देती है और गेस व्हाट इस मूवी
Oh yeah, 700 crores.
बजट था सिर्फ 15 करोड़
Yeah. Which is not a lot, by the way, especially for an animated movie. In fact, animated movies need more production, have more production cost compared to live action movie. So 15 crores for an animated movie is not a lot.
जब हम एनिमेटेड मूवी देखते हैं अक्सर हम विजुअल्स को देखते हैं ग्राफिक्स लाइटिंग्स कैरेक्टर्स लेकिन उसके पीछे का प्रोसेस इट्स इनसेन महाअवतार नरसिम्हा के डायरेक्टर ने बताया कि इस मूवी का सबसे टफ पार्ट था इमोशंस लाना एक एनिमेटेड कैरेक्टर में असली इमोशन दिखाना इजी नहीं होता एक ही सीन को बार बार बनाना पड़ता है अगेन एंड अगेन एंड अगेन जब तक वो फील सही ना आए और टेक्निकल
So because in an animated movie the process is reverse, right? Usually in a live action movie you write the script, you shoot it, and then you edit it, right? But in an animated movie it's reverse. You write the script, you edit the script, Then you then take that edited version, you create a storyboard, then you edit the storyboard, then you take that and you create a previous, then you edit the previous. So you're going in the opposite direction. The animation is the last step. When everything is finalized, in the end you get the animation. Whereas in live action, you already start with the footage and then you edit it.
स्ट्रगल तो अलग ही लेवल का था और उन्होंने ये भी कहा हर फ्रेम को बनाने में लगे 4 से 10 घंटे.
So
Yeah.
your 1 second has 24 images. Not each image can take about 4 to 10 hours rendering. That
Yeah.
is computer processing. Can take around this 1 second takes around 2 weeks to create.
अगर मैं अपने प्रीवियस
Yeah. So rendering is very tough on PC, on computers. That's why there are literally like services and like facilities called render farms. A render farm is basically, imagine a warehouse just like full of computers or like servers. So when a movie is done, like when let's say I'm working on an animated movie, what I can do is do the whole rigging and animating and stuff. And for my review, right, to watch the edit, I render it in like, let's say 360 or 720p, something like some low resolution, right? I do that, which takes less time. So we go through it. The edit looks good, the story looks good, the animation looks good. And that is when you go for the final render. Final render is you are rendering every single frame in like 1080 or 4K, right? Because before that, for review purposes, you don't render every single frame. You render maybe like alternate frames or like 1 out of 4 frames, because it'll look choppy, but you just want to get the idea of the flow, right? Even if you do like alternate frames, right? When you do alternate frames, it isn't very smooth, but it's not also like super choppy. So that is good, but at the same time, it cuts down the render time in half. And then you lower the resolution, then it's even less, right? So you end up reviewing it, and then you send it for the final render to the render farm. And in the render farm, you render every single frame at like 1080 or 4K, which can take up a lot of time, because depending on how many layers you have, how many models you have, etc., and especially lighting, it can take a lot of time. There are like movies, let's say one computer takes around 5 to 10 minutes to render, put the render time of all the computers together. And there are movies that would have taken, like, let's say, instead of doing a render farm, if I just render that movie on my computer, on one computer, that movie would take around 5 to 10 years to render at least. That's why render farms are a very important asset for animated movies.
वीडियोस में से कोई ऐसा प्रोजेक्ट चूज करूं जिसमें रेंडर टाइम सबसे ज्यादा लगे, तो वो डेफिनेटली कृष्णा इंद्र वीएफएक्स वीडियो होगा.
प्रेम इंद्र की इस दृष्टिता से बहुत बड़ा है. वृंदावन की रक्षा मैं अवश्य करूंगा.
एनिमेशन में उन्होंने एक और चीज बताई. उन्होंने कंपेयर किया एनिमेशन प्रोसेस को कठपुतली से. अगर आपने मेरे पुराने वीडियोस देखे हैं तो शायद आपने मुझे रिगिंग करते हुए भी देखा होगा. हम इस प्रोसेस को कंप्यूटर के लैंग्वेज में रिगिंग कहते हैं, जिसमें हम बोन्स बनाते हैं और उन्हें 3D मॉडल की वर्टाइसेस के साथ कनेक्ट करते हैं. जैसे कठपुतली की डोरी खींचने से हाथ पैर हिलते हैं, वैसे ही यहाँ बोन्स मूव करने से मॉडल के बॉडी पार्ट्स एनिमेट होते हैं. और सबसे सैड बात क्या है, बॉलीवुड में पैसा,
And that is why that I feel very sad when I look at a lot of Indian game trailer announcements. It's because before you get to final cinematic renders, even before you get to final models, right, final textured models, you should have your animation in place. Should have your rigging in place, right? But a lot of Indian game trailers have like super like high definition cinematics, photorealistic cinematics, but the animation looks so jank. I'm like, can you please focus on what is important? Focus on the level design, focus on the animation. You can do cinematics later. We don't need photorealism. Just make pixel games, pixel art games. That's fine. You don't have to fixate yourself on AAA photorealistic games. Focus on animation, level design, storytelling. Focus on those things, please.
डालकर पीआर और मार्केटिंग का इतना गेम होता है कि मूवी रिलीज होने से पहले ही हेडलाइंस में स्टार कास्ट का नाम होता है, किसने कितना चार्ज किया, कहां शूट हुआ, रेड कारपेट पर क्या पहना, बस वही न्यूज। पैसे देकर पहले ही रेड कारपेट बिछा दिया जाता है। यही है असली फर्क इमोशन से बनी फिल्म वर्सेस मार्केटिंग से बनी फिल्म।
Okay.
महाअवतार नरसिम्हा के बारे में अब तक सबने रिव्यू और अपनी ओपिनियन दे दी है, लेकिन जो मैं बताने जा रहा हूँ उसको ध्यान से सुनना। एक एनिमेटेड फिल्म ने थिएटर में ऑडियंस को रुला दिया। लिटरली लोग इमोशनल हो गए जब टॉपिक वायरल होने लगा, जब लोगों ने ऑर्गेनिक वे में इस फिल्म के बारे में बात करनी शुरू की। इसका मतलब समझते हो? एक तरफ सैयारा जैसी फिल्म्स हैं जो किसी और की मूवी का कॉपी होती हैं, फिर भी करोड़ों रुपए पीआर पर उड़ा दिए जाते हैं। दूसरी तरफ होती है एक असली फिल्म जो सिर्फ पैशन
Okay, this is. It's not. Okay, I won't get into it.
होती है। बिना किसी रेड कारपेट मार्केटिंग या पीआर के लोग उसे खुद ही सपोर्ट करते हैं ना।
That is what you're literally showing PR footage and saying it's not PR.
एक्स्ट्रा पेड प्रमोशन, ना आर्टिफिशियल हाइप, सिर्फ असली वर्ड ऑफ माउथ। डायरेक्टर
Don't get me wrong. It's a good movie. Right? It's a good movie. There's a lot of hard work behind it. It's a good step for the Indian animation industry. But can we be real, please? You are telling me there was no PR attempt? Really? It's good to be optimistic, but also let's be realistic a little bit.
अश्विन कुमार जी ने कहा, इमोशंस लाने के लिए सिर्फ एनिमेशन नहीं, एक्टिंग भी हुई। वॉइस एक्टर्स ने सिर्फ आवाज नहीं दी, उन्होंने एक्टिंग भी की।
Yeah, that's how
जिसे रेफरेंस
it's in the name. It's called voice acting. I thought this was going to talk about technical details of VFX.
एनिमेटर्स ने कैरेक्टर में डाला। जैसे प्रहलाद के हिंदी वॉइस आर्टिस्ट हरिप्रिया, उन्होंने एक्ट भी किया, वॉइस भी दी।
मैं एक असुर हूँ, कदाचित मैं इस योग्य ही
स्वयं देवी लक्ष्मी से भी अधिक प्रिय हो।
2021 से ही इस फिल्म का कॉन्फिडेंशियल स्टोरी बोर्ड और मोशन कैप्चर एक्सपेरिमेंट स्टार्ट हो गए थे। तब से ही टीम ने सोच लिया था, नॉर्मल एनिमेशन नहीं, कुछ अलग करना है, जो मुझे एक्चुअली मूवी में दिखा। एक्शन सीन्स के लिए उन्होंने इंस्पिरेशन लिया एंशिएंट मार्शल आर्ट से, कलारी पयाटू और
Nice.
सिलम्बाम। ये सिर्फ फाइट नहीं थी, ये आर्ट फॉर्म था, कल्चर था। स्पिरिचुअल रिस्पेक्ट और एक्यूरेसी मेंटेन करने के लिए फिल्म की स्क्रिप्ट को वैदिक शास्त्रों के विद्वानों से रिव्यू करवाया गया और फिल्म देखते वक्त
Yeah, I guess you're dealing with like religious topics, so you would need like advisors. That would make sense. I mean, using martial arts references is good, but it's also like nothing new. That's like standard industry standard. You take references to animate, right? Yeah, good that they did it, but that's like in this like bare minimum. And if you can't even bother to use references, then
आपको एक अलग ही फील आती है, क्योंकि बैकग्राउंड म्यूजिक में वैदिक संस्कृत मंत्रास को लो फ्रीक्वेंसी साउंड के साथ ब्लेंड किया गया है। ये आपके सबकॉन्शियस माइंड को एक्टिवेट करता है।
okay, there's only 1 minute left, so let's
बिना
see.
आप रियलाइज किए आप इमोशनली कनेक्ट हो जाते हो, और ये कनेक्शन इतना रियल था कि फिल्म रिलीज के बाद टेंपल प्रीस्ट और स्पिरिचुअल गुरुज ने भी इस फिल्म को प्रेज किया। आज के पॉप कल्चर में जहां लोग डीटीज का मजाक उड़ाते हैं या इग्नोर करते हैं, उसी एनवायरनमेंट में ये फिल्म बन के आई और इंडिया की हाईएस्ट ग्रोसिंग एनिमेटेड फिल्म बन गई।
Because there are no other animated movies being made. What other animated feature film was released?
और भगवान नरसिम्हा का इंट्रो सॉन्ग वो तो लोगों का फेवरेट बन गया। इस सॉन्ग को गाया है बिहार के एक रैपर ने जिसका नाम है द श्लोका।
पहले तो आप सबका अनेकों अनेकों धन्यवाद रोर ऑफ नरसिम्हा को इतना सारा प्रेम देने के लिए।
मैं पिछले 6 साल से VFX एडिट कर रहा हूँ। हर दिन कुछ नया सीखता हूँ, हर प्रोजेक्ट में कुछ नया ट्राई करता हूँ और एक चीज़ मैंने समझी है, चाहे मैं कितना भी रियलिस्टिक VFX बना लूँ, बात वहीं आकर रुक जाती है। क्या मैं इमोशन कनेक्ट कर पा रहा हूँ? क्या मेरा VFX बस दिखने में अच्छा है या
Yeah,
लोग उसे
there is something in like VFX and like post production that is discussed a lot, is that it doesn't have to look real, it has to feel real, right? So that is a principle that is mentioned a lot when talking about post production.
महसूस भी कर रहे हैं। और उसी पीस को पूरा किया है महावतार नरसिम्हा ने। ये फिल्म सिर्फ एनिमेशन का शोकेस नहीं थी, ये एक
There was nothing there was nothing about why Bollywood has bad VFX in this.
इमोशनल जर्नी थी जहां व्यूअर कनेक्ट करता है स्टोरी से, कल्चर से और भक्ति से। कंपेयर करो इसे बॉलीवुड के बड़े प्रोजेक्ट से। वहां क्या होता है, फेमस एक्टर को ले लो, 2-3 स्लो मोशन शॉट्स और फिर पोस्ट प्रोडक्शन टीम से कहो इतना ही बजट है अपना। अरे पैसा गया कहां, इतना सारा पैसा चला जा।
They won't talk about it, so let me tell you, okay? Let me tell you why VFX is bad. VFX is bad because the way VFX studios do contracts is broken. Okay, so when a production house hires a post production house like a VFX studio to do post production for them, it is done on a project based pricing. Like, so they decide a flat fee for the entire project. They go on and they say, hey, we want to do this movie and we are expecting like this is the scope of the movie, so we'd like to hire you. And the studio says, okay, so based on the cost, you're saying this is the scope, and based on the scope, this is the cost that we would incur. So based on that, this is the price we are quoting. Okay, all done. They've decided the fee, and then they sign the contract. Okay, but then what happens is scope creep. The studio does reshoots and keeps giving studio notes to the VFX studio, which did not account for the additional scope creep, right? Because it happens in kind of the lowest bidder gets the contract type stuff. Like VFX industry is so cutthroat that that you are trying to undercut each other to get the contract, right? So in that scenario, when you have agreed for like a lower than optimal pricing for a movie, and they come to you with a lot of notes and reshoots, so you have to do more work than that was agreed for, you're already in the red, right? You're losing money. And then because a lot of reshoots happen closer to the release date, and they have set the release date already, there is crunch time. Crunch time is basically when all the VFX studio employees are working overtime to get the movie done. And what ends up happening is you get poor quality. That is why VFX is bad, right? And the second reason is a lot of the times when you hear 100 crore VFX budget, 50 crore VFX budget, 200 crore VFX budget, that is not the VFX budget. It is inflated cost, right? They're usually telling you the entire post-production budget, or like there are other costs that are being accounted for. Okay, and usually a lot of the usually a very small chunk of the entire movie budget goes to the actual VFX studio. So in the end, it's about money and the way production houses work with VFX studios. The studio that worked on Life of Pi won the Oscar. While they were winning the Oscar and giving their speech, their studio went bankrupt. Like while they were giving their speech, in their speech they say that as we speak, our studio is bankrupt.
Finally, I want to thank all the artists who worked on this film for over a year, including Rhythm and Hughes. Sadly, Rhythm and Hughes is suffering severe financial difficulties right now. I urge you all to remember,
because the scope creep was so much on their project, they ended up going in red. They couldn't afford to pay their employees. They ended up going bankrupt and closing the studio. That is why VFX is bad. This video oh, calm down. Ooh. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. It was a clickbait and I got baited. Okay, that's it. It was about it was about Mahavatar Nasima. It was an essay about the movie, not about the bad VFX, and I got baited. Okay, that is it.